Chael, we're going to go real quick. True or false on a few of these, okay? The fight goes over 8.5 rounds. That's the total that Vegas has. True or false?
I'm going to go false.
Okay. McGregor fights 5 more times in his career, whether it be boxing or MMA.
False.
Wow. Less than 5 times we see this guy in a ring or an octagon again.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now, don't forget, I mean, he said some stuff at the press conference today. He was talking about he was going to start his own promotion company. If there's one thing that fighters love to do, it's go broke. Conor McGregor is not a smart guy. He's a dum-dum with a cool accent that looks great in a suit and's got pretty good fighting skills. He should put the gloves on and leave the thinking to Dana White. But if he does jump into the promotion business, he will be broke, and in that case, he will have to keep fighting.
McGregor fights again this year. True or false?
False.
When McGregor fights again, his opponent will be Nate Diaz, his first opponent back in the UFC.
I like that. I can't, that's a hard one to say, but I'm going to say true on that. I'm going to say true on that because Conor did say that. He did a thing with Errol. He said that. I mean, guys say things all the time, change their mind, but I'm going to go true.
Yeah, he's always said that he wants, even before he defeated Diaz in the rematch, he said, I'm going to win the rematch. There will be a third one. It does seem like something almost from a competitive standpoint that he's always seemed interested in, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I really admire that in him. But I really admire that in him because he's really the new breed fighter, even his style. He really is a new breed. There's nobody doing it. He is futuristic for his time with his style, but he's a real traditionalist at respecting the history of sports. And, yes, when guys go 1-1, you go to the rubber match. That's what history says. And I really admire that he does that because he means that. He knows the rules, man. It's one apiece. You got to settle it. I respect that.
Yep, I agree. Another one, true or false, McGregor's relationship with the UFC and his purse demands after making all the money on the Mayweather fight becomes one of the biggest stories of 2018.
Oh, definitely false. Yeah, nobody cares. That's been out for a while.
Yeah, but where do you stand on the whole, Conor's going to make all this money. How is he going to go back to MMA and make far less money? Where do you stand on that question?
Well, he might be able to do something. I mean, that's the way that it goes. That works in life that way, too. I mean, I had that same thing in MMA. I did just over $8 million to fight Anderson the second time, and I did just over $6 million to fight Jones after that. So, I mean, it's not the same. And you can go, well, it's a world title, and it's just as tough, and we're going to sell it. Man, it's not the same. Business is business, and particularly when guys are cut in on the pay-per-view, the way that's structured, I mean, it's just simple numbers. You get a calculator out, and the guy gets a check cut. And I got significantly less than both of those to just sell out Madison Square Garden and fight Vanderlei Silva. So, I mean, that's the way it goes. You don't only make more money. You can take your ball and go home, and if you're in this for the money, then maybe that's what you should do. But I think that Conor's going to sit down and talk with him and say, look, I want a few more points here, and we'll see what happens. But he's under a contract, and it's important to honor your contracts. And, the UFC could go with him or go without him, but they'll make that decision based on business, and I don't think anybody's in the wrong there.
Good stuff. One last topic I got to ask you about before we get you out of here, and that is obviously Jon Jones. I think everybody is familiar with what's going on. We still have to wait a little bit, when it comes to, Jones is claiming innocence, and he's going to, it sounds like appeal this and get his B sample tested, all of that stuff. But your initial thoughts on this news that broke yesterday?
I was very surprised. I knew that Jon was using. I just lived that life too long myself. If a guy takes a T-shirt off, I can take one look at him. I called the Junior before it broke. I called the Jon before it broke. However, when I say I was surprised, I just assumed coming off the suspension, having the money he's got and the connections he's got, brothers in the NFL, what have you, I thought, well, he must have found a way to manipulate the test. He must have found something that isn't on the ban list yet. I never thought it would have been a dirty, rotten steroid. You have to understand there's banned substances, and then there's illegal substances. That steroid he's found with is a Class C felony. They would put you in handcuffs for that. It is against the law to be in possession of. So that did stun me a little bit. And I can also tell you from having lived that life, you only have to answer for the things you're caught for, but you never caught for everything you did. So, he got away with a number of things, I would suspect, but he's going down on Tremopol. And so, I mean, it is what it is. It's Jon Jones. And the cover-up is always worse than the crime. Right now, he needs to go into PR mode. He needs to choose one of two strategies. One, bury your head and say nothing ever. It worked for Brock Lesnar. He just went through it. He's still on a suspension, and he main evented a pay-per-view on Sunday night. So that's one strategy. The other is come as clean as you can, as quickly as you can. Here's what I did. Here's why I did it. That is not going to happen when you're dealing with a sociopath that's going to hold the Bible up above his head and claim, silly me, and I don't know how this happened. You're not going to get that, and he's going to end up just like he has every other time. He's just going to end up elongating this. It'll go away. It'll blow over. People are starting to get numb to it when it's Jon Jones. They just start to, oh, yeah, I'm sure he did, and they just kind of move on with their day. But he could get through it a little quicker if he either went silent or he fessed up.
Based on what you said about Turinabol, does it, and it seems like you're very crystal clear on what you think happened with Jon Jones, but because it's not a substance that you would anticipate him using, especially with the resources that he has available to him, does that make you think even just slightly that him saying, I don't know how this got in my system, is there any wonderment about you that, well, maybe?
No, on a guy's third strike, no, definitely not. And again, I could take one look at him, and I could just throw the fans back as recently as his OSP fight to his Daniel Cormier fight. His body changed significantly. And one thing with the human body is we don't get better with time. So if your body all of a sudden looks better than it used to when you're weighing in at the same weight class as you used to, you've got some explaining to do. And you can fool a lot of the public by saying, I went on a new diet and a new exercise program. But when you're training for world title fights, you're dieting and you're exercising to the top of your ability. So it's same, except the guy's a year older. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but it would take somebody in the know. And again, I'm an expert on this topic for all of the wrong reasons, but an expert nonetheless. And no, the fact that it was such a lowbrow steroid, I mean, this was still some good stuff. I would put it at probably number 8 on the list of things you could do, but I would put what Anderson Silva popped for at about a number 11 on the list. I mean, there was better stuff. It just strengthens my previous point of what didn't they catch? How many things did get through the system because he's found different ways to do it? That would be my speculation, but I must admit to you it's just that. I know that I'm right. I'm just protecting myself legally, and I'm letting you know I'm speculating, even though I'm not.
Last question on this. Why? Is it as simple as, and that might sound like an obvious question, there's an obvious answer to it, because performance-enhancing drugs, listen to what they're called, performance enhancing. They do great things for you. So that's why you take them. But with Jon Jones, everything on the line, everything that he had been through, him coming out and being so anti-performance enhancing drugs, if he did cheat, as you suspect he did, as you are speculating that he has done so, well, is it just as simple?
Confirmed. I think a better way to say it is the test, the one before it and one before that, confirmed. But yes, I will speak to what the test said. But go ahead.
Why? Is it just as simple as he didn't think he could beat Daniel Cormier without it? Is it lack of confidence? Is it the rigors
I think it's a little bit of both, Yeah, old habits. Basically, the psychology of it, as flawed as this is, the basic psychology is somebody grabs a hold of you and says, hey, this isn't going to show up. And it's really just as simple as that. You bite down one time, you take that guy's advice, and you pass a test. And John passed 4 or 5 of them, and he's going, okay, I've discovered something they can't catch. And all of a sudden, what he miscalculated is the science changes, and it can change as quick as daily without any kind of a press release or notification. Things can, go undetected for years, and all of a sudden one Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., a scientist figures out a new way, and they start implementing it. So these guys get jammed up in that all the time, and then love to go, but wait a minute, I wouldn't have taken it this late, and if it didn't show up here, here, and here, and it's like, no, it wasn't tested the same way. They're not armed with enough information because they're not very smart. They're not very smart in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, that's what happened. But you're not going to get clomiphene in a tainted substance, and I know they tried to rule that the last time, but that was as crooked as could be. Clomiphene is so I used to take clomiphene. It's extremely expensive. Nobody's putting that in an over-the-counter sex pill or whatever John had claimed. And now you've got this one, Tremabol, and this is another expensive one. It's a Class C felony. Nobody's smuggling this in and putting this into substances. I mean, it's beyond absurd. It was taken intentionally, I believe.
Thank you for your insight, your perspective, Chael. Look forward to seeing you the rest of the week.
You can't get that anywhere else, Brett. Nobody, you can't get what I just gave you anywhere else. All of that was brilliant. I'm so impressed with myself right now, as I'm sure you are. I'll see you tomorrow. Kaboom.
That's why we came to you. Can't wait to watch the ratings soar on this episode. There he is, Chael Sonnen. Yeah, always fun to work with Chael. Fun to have him on the podcast, and it's been fun to work alongside him with this major fight. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back on the second end with our second guest of the week. He is Dan Hardy, who is also out here